I've got an activity for you today. We are going to learn how to make homemade no-bake Play-Doh. There are so many recipes you can find online and anywhere on how to make different variations. I like this one because it doesn't require any cream of tartar, which is not something that everyone has every day in their house. And it's one that the kids can make all on their own because you don't have to boil any water. You don't have to cook it over the stove, and you don't have to add any boiling water. This one is just cold water. So we're gonna see how it turns out. So I'm gonna show you what the ingredients are. It's water, move my bowl, flour, salt, cooking oil, cornstarch. And then after you make your dough, you just divide it and make as many colors as you want. My favorite recipe is actually making Play-Doh with Kool-Aid packets. So you color it with the Kool-Aid packet, and then it smells like Kool-Aid. And they have really cute, fun colors, and you're not using just regular food coloring. So that's kind of fun, but I don't have any. So, all right, let's start. You're gonna get a bowl. And you're going to start. I wasn't ready. Oh, goodness. All right, sorry about that. We're going to put 2 teaspoons. I didn't get my little teaspoon thing, so I'm just going to use this regular spoon. And you can go light on the oil and add more later because you want it to be too sticky and you don't want it to be too dry. So you start with the oil, the salt, and the water. Now, the thing about the salt is you need a lot of it and you need a lot of flour. And I know these days flour is hard to come by. Depends on the day of the week and the time of day you go. So a cup of salt, 2 teaspoons of oil, and 1 1/4 cup of water. Okay, so I'm going to put that in my bowl. I'm going to mix that together. And then we're going to add the cornstarch. You only need 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. I'm not really a measurer, so I kind of just plop stuff in there. So I'm going to blend that in there. Cornstarch, as you know, is usually what binds things together as a thickening agent. Then I'm going to measure out my flour. And this you need 3 cups for, and then you add it slowly. You don't just dump it in. So this measuring cup is 2 cups, so we're going to start with that. I'm going to sprinkle that in there a little bit, give it a stirry stir. Flour. A little more flour. This is the kind of tutorial I need for that doggone coffee. I tried that thing 5 times before I finally got it right. So probably about a cup in is when it starts to actually thicken. So add some more. Now we're getting somewhere, everybody. I'll show it to you. Kind of blown out. Can you see that? It's starting to turn into a dough now. Obviously, with this recipe, everything is edible, but it's not going to taste good. Flour. It still says to add another cup of flour, but I don't think it's going to need a whole cup. So let's just start with maybe a 1/4 cup more. Okay, I'm going to dump this out on the counter. Roll up my sleeves. And now we're going to start kneading it. And then you can really see how it's turning out. Yeah. Now, if your dough turns out a little sticky from the oil, you just add more flour. And as you play with it after a couple days or whatever, and it starts to get dry, just put some water on your hands and work that into your dough and soften it up a little bit. All right, so now that that is made, I'm going to divide it into clumps, and we're going to make them different colors. Now, with food coloring, it's going to get on our hands if we need it, but what are you going to do? So I'm going to put a drop in there. So I made a little indent so it doesn't roll out onto the counter. And I made a little indent and I put a drop of pink in there. Then I'll make an indent in this one, and I'll put a drop of purple in there. That does not look purple. That looks as though I put the wrong cap on the wrong bottle. Maybe this one, but we'll see what happens. I made an indent in this one. I'm going to put this teal. Oops. And I'll put an indent in this one and put a drop of orange in there. All right, so now I've got 4 clumps of dough, each with 1 or 2 drops of whatever coloring, and then I'm going to mash them together. So we'll start with the center of the dough to color that, and then we'll start working it around and let the color spread. And if it needs more, we will put more. It's kind of fun. This can be the part of the experiment, not just molding it and making shapes, but also the blending of the colors can actually be the activity, the first activity. And then you can blend different colors together, or just let them do this as the first part of their activity. Good sensory activity. And then you can talk to them about what's happening with the dough. So I think in order to be a solid purple color, I'm going to need to add more. I can't guarantee this is the right bottle. So I put a couple more drops in there. And it's feeling a little sticky. So I'm going to put some flour down on my counter. And I'm just going to put it on my hands. And I'm going to roll it or pat it on my dough. And then I'm going to keep working in the food coloring. And there we go. We're starting to get purple Play-Doh. A little sticky. Get some flour in there. Purple Play-Doh. We'll blend one more color so you can see. Sorry about the lighting, it's not so great. Let's try this pretty teal color, and since we needed more drops on the other one, I'm just going to go ahead and do it ahead of time. And just to not get straight up food coloring on my hands, I'm folding the dough in on itself. Roll it around in some of this flour. Oh, that's what happens because I put more food coloring, but it'll wash off. More flour. So the recipe was right. 3 cups of flour is good. Didn't seem like it was going to need it, but then after we started working with it, it definitely needed it. I really like this color though. I like the gel food colorings. They're always a little more vibrant than your regular food coloring. Okay, and now we have teal. Can you see that without the glare? It's a little marbly. That's a lot marbly. Fun. And if you mold it into a shape, or you use a cookie cutter to make it into a shape, like you can make it the shape of an Easter egg, and then you can just leave it out on your counter and let it dry, and it will eventually harden, and then you can paint it. You can mold it into an egg shape, and then you can paint it like an Easter egg. So I've got a blue one, purple one, and then we got a red, like a pink one, and an orange one. And then you can just play. And you don't think you need a lesson on what to do with it once you've got it, but probably not something we're going to run to the store for these days is Play-Doh. So if you've got the flour to spare, I highly recommend not only making some, but using this recipe, because it will keep your kids very busy if they get to do the whole thing by themselves. So they don't mind getting messy. I don't mind being messy. But you can put them in the backyard or the front yard when it's not raining like it is today, and make their own Play-Doh. I kind of like this one marbly. I was going to add more, but I kind of like the way it's turning out. Anyway, friends, that is how you make homemade, no-bake Play-Doh. If you make some, send me a picture of it. I would love to see how it worked out and what you decided to do with it after you made some. All right? All right, friends. I'll talk to you later. It's me.